So it's time to switch it up. Yes, you've been doing the Netflix plus takeout, and that's been the dates, right? But now we need to ramp it up. Those are good sometimes, those are great when we want to be homebodies, but it's time to switch it up, spice it up. Hi, I'm Dani Wigfall, your go to relationship coach. I also happen to be a mental health therapist, creative artist, mom, wife, all of the things. I'm not getting into all of the things right now, but I'm here because I want to help you accelerate your dating life, your relationships, also grow more just for yourself. So, if that sounds like something you want to get into, subscribe to this channel and let's get into it. My number one thing when it comes to dates, if you want to warm up the date a little bit, right? You don't want to just like, oh, I planned this amazing date. We're going to do this, X, Y, and Z. No, warm it up. This is where we take it another level, where we look at our partner and we think about what is their love language? If you know it already, great. Love them in their love language before the date. If you don't know what love languages are, please do a quick Google search. Love languages. What are those? Okay. Where might my partner fall into? Or just pick one. You might not go wrong. Okay. So you have words of affirmation, you have quality time, you have personal touch, you have acts of service, gifts. What does your partner love of those things? Right? Love them in that love language before the date or while you're on the date. For example, let's say if it's acts of service, your partner likes when things are done for them. You know, maybe do something that they've been asking you to do or something they've been meaning to do themselves that they haven't had time to do, whether it's mailing a package or doing some dishes or it could be anything very specific to your partner, but find something that you can do for them before the date. It could even be if that person likes to get their nails done, getting their nails done for them before the date. Things like that. If they like gifts, giving them gifts, but things that you know that they like. Not just here's your flowers, here's your chocolates, not just the just normal, I don't want to say normal, but more cliche, easy to reach, low hanging fruit things to do, right? Find something that they're really into and give them that. Make it thoughtful. Some people like going back down memory lane with things. So if you're with someone that's very sentimental and they are mushy, gushy, love all the things, one good idea is to create a memory box or just print out some photos and under the photos write what you loved about that memory or that memory you guys had together. And you can create an album. It can even just be the photos with on the back, you wrote this out for them, you signed the date, things like that. They will love that. Okay. So we're just elevating date night a bit. So some of these things you may have heard, some things maybe not. But I want to give you all the good so we can elevate and we're just not doing Netflix and takeout every night until that's just the routine. Besides that one time, it's like, okay, one time we will go out to dinner somewhere. Okay. So I'm just encouraging to switch it up. So before we even get started into the list, warm up the date. You know how they say warm up before you get into things intimately? Warm up the date. Warm up the date. That's going to get you some extra brownie points. Not only are you going to get extra brownie points, but you're going to be creating core memories because it's going to be something they haven't experienced before or very rare that they've experienced it before, where they're getting something pre-date. So a lot of times we make it about the big thing, the date. But what if you just send little notes throughout the day, little messages of words of affirmations is their thing. You're warming them up to the date, getting them ready. Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, now let's get into the points here. Number one, if you're thinking for fun date ideas, every great date has food. And it might be just because, I love food. So I might be biased. I'm not going to lie. I'll let y'all know when I'm biased. Okay, so number one, I would say is every great date usually has food involved in some type of way. Okay, and that just could be me because I like food and I'm a foodie. And so when my big girl comes out, she comes out. Okay, and she likes food. Like things feel incomplete if food is not involved for me. But that is for me. I can't say that there's some statistics or evidence based anything I can tell you about this. But for me, per se, you're not dating me. Know your partner. If food is a big thing for them, food should be included in the date somewhere in there. And good food, thoughtful food, food that you know they're gonna like, not food that you know you're gonna like, okay? Food that you looked at the menu already. Ooh, I know my partner loves this. I know my partner loves that. Let's try this place. Ooh, this place has an amazing view. It has amazing ambiance. Let's try this. Or, ooh, this place has a special experience happening. If your partner's into those things, sometimes they do shows with dinner, comedy with dinner, detective mystery nights with dinner. There's so many different things you can find tailored to your city, where you are, but find some of those things and get after it. And this is how we can switch up the whole Netflix takeout. And I'm not saying that's bad, remember? Sometimes that's good, but not all the time. And it's so easy to fall into the routine of things. Number two, this is more of a gift idea for the date, right? And I mentioned it before, but I just want to bring more attention to it, which is creating pictures or messages of how you feel about that person or different dates you went on. Or if you don't know them, if you don't know them that well, don't send them pictures of themselves. Like that's creepy. That is creepy. Don't do that. But dates y'all have been on before or memories y'all have together. Really taking the time to create a memory box, a memory album, or just something that they can keep, some type of keepsake that they can have while they're on the date. So this is more of an add-on to whatever the date is, or it could be something that you guys go back down memory lane together and just remember when we did this, remember when we did that, and we start asking each other questions about those things, okay? So that is number two. Number three, this is a classic idea, but picnic in nature, not just picnic in the park. It could be picnic at the beach. It could be picnic at a lake. It could be on a sunset cruise. It could be somewhere, a rooftop, right? That ambiance of I'm out, it has an amazing view. Maybe if it's not rooftop, it has a view that is spectacular, right? Something along those lines where it feels like you're in nature, you feel like you're somewhere else. You don't feel like, okay, every day I'm here walking the street, here's the sidewalk, here's my room, here's my living room. Like, no. Being in nature, it just has an elevated experience. It's great. So trying one of those things. Also, now some people like doing the cabins, but you have to know your partner, okay? Is your partner a cabin person? And make sure you're very clear, okay? There's been a time where where I was invited to come to a lake house. And it wasn't necessarily a lake house. It was definitely a cabin in the woods. That's two different things, okay? Two very different things. But I'm just saying, know your partner. That's just an example. That's just an example. And plus, you don't want to do creepy things or things they won't like. Like, you don't want to make memories for negative things. You want them to create core positive memories. Like, oh my goodness, it was so great. Or this was my best date. Or this was so much fun. We got a chance to talk about this and reminisce about this and all of those type of things. Number four, pick an adventure, something fun, something different. Now, sometimes on dates, we like to be catered to, or everything's given to us, everything's easy. We feel luxurious, we feel nice, or it feels different, we feel at ease. But I even encourage switching that up a bit, and doing something that's more interactive, more adventurous. I'm gonna throw some things out there, okay? And you can pick. And these are just ideas for you to write down, save for later, to have for your date night. If it's for you, take it. If it's not for you, don't take it. But I'm going to run through a list of several things you can do when it comes to adventure dates, okay? So let me get my list. One, you can do a cooking class, painting, wine tasting, horseback riding, jet skiing, a scavenger hunt, a city tour. Sometimes they have those different city tours you can do. An escape room, those can be fun or not so fun. You can go see a show, whether that's a play, a musical, a comedy show, something that's coming to town like Cirque du Soleil or something like that. Some other things, looking at my list, zip lining, going to a farmer's market could be nice. And it doesn't just have to be the farmer's market in town where you live. Maybe traveling a little bit to going to like a big farmer's market if there's not a big one near you, or something that's a fair or carnival or something like that. Doesn't always have to be super local, but if you're feeling the local vibe, local is always great. But if you don't have access to that, then traveling a little bit. Don't be scared to venture out of town or go a little bit further, especially for farmers markets, because they're normally happening not at like prime busy time rush hours. So you got some time to travel to a new part of town and maybe even plan like a lunch afterwards if you don't eat at the farmers market. But other adventures could be salsa dancing. If you're in Texas or somewhere country, it could be line dancing, going to a rodeo show. I'm in Texas, so those things come to mind. But planning some type of adventure, knowing your partner, exploring, and if it's new for the both of you, even better because you both are learning something new. And the adventure doesn't have to be something intense and something super physical. It could be something like bowling, which can get pretty physical at the end. But it could be something if you wanted to do like pottery making or something. Finding some type of adventure, all the way up to I know people that do rock climbing, and then like that's their thing. They go rock climbing for their big things, or they go to different national parks and they go hiking and they spend time and they'll go camping and it's the whole thing. But finding ways to make it your own, make it special for you, building and growing your relationship. Not just doing the same old things. Like people think that, oh, we grow apart. Growing apart takes inaction, but action in inaction. Okay. So we want the relationship where we're growing together. Number five, hire a friend that is good at something, whether they have a talent they can teach the both of you and they can make it an experience, whether they are a chef or they are an artist and they can teach you how to paint or make something, draw something, grow something. Hiring a friend or a professional too, if you don't have a set of friends where, okay, this friend is a genius at this, or this friend is a genius at that, or they're just really good at this, or I love this dish that they make, right? Or my partner loves this dish that they make. Having that time to just really be creative, interactive, you're making something fun. And it doesn't have to, that one doesn't require a lot. It could be a friend or a professional. Now, a professional is going to require a little bit more, but a friend, you also want to make sure that they show up. So, and I'm sure, hopefully, they would be honored that they were asked for this. And then, I mean, you can kick them to the curb too, once the time goes. Number six. Now, this is a good one. Okay. This is a good one if you like to smell good and you're into smells or creating your own scents. But I'm going to say creating your own scent together or separately. So separately, but at the same time, making a scent, whether that's a candle making class, whether that's a perfume or lotions class. Look in your town and see if they have that. There's a lot of places where you can create your own scents for things, come up with combinations, and it is so much fun just to explore. And you'll learn more about your partner, what they like, what they don't like. It's one thing to know, ooh, they smell good. It's another thing to know, like, ooh, they love more muskier vanilla tones or more ocean, things like that, what they really like in depth. And then it's interactive, it's fun, you're making, you're mixing, you're doing things, it's something different, you're creating. And maybe that's something I just love when couples can create together. That's beautiful. Number seven, let's say you are at home, you want to do a home thing, but making it an elevated experience. So maybe you go on the patio this time instead of just eating at the couch, pulling up a snack tray or a coffee table, or eating at the living room, the kitchen, the family room, wherever it is you normally eat, creating an experience. So possibly lighting some candles or having a fire pit, putting up a projector to watch your favorite movies, having different chairs, making it a theme night. Things like that can really elevate the at home experience so it doesn't just feel like monotonous. We're doing the same thing that we always do. It's switching it up a little bit. I did a tiki kind of like night for my husband, and I got a projector and just projected that on the garage, and we had a whole night. Actually, that date is somewhere here on YouTube, so you can go back and see that. But yes, absolutely elevated. And that isn't going to cost you a lot. You don't have to have the projector. You can have a great playlist, music going, a vibe going, songs they would like, they would enjoy. So things in that nature to really elevate the experience. So it has some intention behind it versus we fall into what's easy, we fall into the routine. Save that for when you have no energy whatsoever. Save that for when it's like, oh man, I'm stressed. I had so much going on. I don't want to plan. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to decompress, right? And sometimes a lot of us are running on that autopilot. And I just want to encourage you to put something on the calendar that's an important date for you guys to have date night. Have it ahead of time, even if it's a month ahead, a few months ahead, like schedule it ahead of time so you have something to look forward to that's not the same old thing. Number 8, travel. You can do a staycation or a vacation. Now, let me explain staycation. Staycation is we're going to a different part of town and we're staying in a hotel. We're having a new experience. We're not staying where we normally would stay, and it's a full experience. We're experiencing the things around town. We're maybe walking around town. We're doing something there in that area that maybe we've wanted to do. We haven't always done, but you're staying more local-ish. Vacation, you're gone. Okay. You're out of here. You're having fun. And I have to make a very important point here. Now, sometimes when we get out of our routine, couples tend to argue before they get to the destination, right when they get to the destination. Yes, this can be something that is standard when we're out of our routine. So I want you to be mindful. If you know that you and your partner tend to argue when you go places, set that boundary now. Hey, no matter what, we are not arguing. We can have disagreements. Disagreements are very different than arguing. But setting that standard and that bar for yourselves of like, we're going to be able to let it go. We're going to look at the problem. If we can solve it in that moment, we'll solve the problem. We'll not blame each other. We'll solve the problem. If it's not something we can solve, we'll manage it or we'll table it. But nothing's going to ruin this travel experience. Okay. So sometimes that can happen when we're out of our routine. We're stressed. We have to pack our bags. We have to get this. We didn't want to forget this. Something didn't work out right. Traveling can be stressful. So just be mindful. Have more grace for each other when you guys are traveling. And remember why you're traveling, why you want to get away, how much you love that person, and live in those moments in that perspective versus this went wrong, that went wrong, this went wrong, that went wrong. It's your fault, your fault, your fault. When we're out of our routine, anxieties come up, stresses come up, and just be mindful of that. This is something that does happen sometimes. So, setting that standard, if you know that, don't just go into a new travel situation when you know, okay, we tend to argue when we travel, so let's not travel. No, set a boundary, set a standard. We're not going to travel. No, you're going to travel. We're not going to argue this trip. We can have disagreements, but we're not going to X, Y, and Z, whatever you want to set for yourselves. I'm not setting that for you. But I think it's good to have certain standards to make sure that you guys are able to let things go or table things that aren't important and really be present with each other in those moments that you have. Because within that travel, unless you're staying there for a long, long, long time, like those are the only moments you have there. So sometimes it's just really not worth it. Is it worth that argument and the feelings afterwards to really just be going at it if your communication is not where it should be to have disagreements in a healthy way? It's very common. We're not taught how to have healthy disagreements. It's usually, I'm hurt, so I'm going to defend myself. I'm hurt, so I'm going to defend myself. And it looks like this. That's what we see on TV. That's what we hear. That's what we've seen in our personal lives. We're not used to seeing healthy disagreements and healthy communication. If you guys want a video on that, let me know because I can go over that as well. And I probably will because it's not something that's commonly talked about. But healthy disagreements are great. It's how you grow. It's how you still stay connected while growing and respecting each other and feel seen. A lot of times in arguments, we don't feel seen in those moments. And it's because that person's getting their point across, this person's getting their point across, and we're just pointing fingers versus really seeing their partner. All right, not to go down that rabbit hole, but that is my list for all of my Smarties. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Welcome to 2025. We are here. And if there is something you want me to discuss, please write it in the comments. If there's something you want me to do a video on, leave it in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Or if you've gone on some really cool dates, let us know. Okay, don't gatekeep. We want the goods. Share the goods. See you guys next Tuesday. Bye.